We are extremely powerful people. The greatest hero you're going to ever run to is inside you. Greatest teacher you're ever going to run to is inside you. Okay? The greatest power you have is inside yourself. I try to get people to look inside. That's where our strength's at. That's who we are.
And welcome to Tapping In. I'm your host, Marisa Grieco, and I have an incredible guest for you guys today, Dr. David Bones. Dr. David Bone. He is so incredible. I add the S just because I want more of him. That's the only reason why I put it there. But he's an incredible healer. So I have a quick question for you.
Go ahead.
What I've been noticing with myself and a lot of my clients, the throat chakra.
Yes.
And I'm trying to figure out what it is because, and you see it sometimes even we were at the convention together, people start coughing, right? When you start talking about different things. So I'm wondering, what is that tickle in the throat or that pressure that we start to feel? Is it something that we but are beginning to clear out? Is it something that's going in? You know what I mean?
Yes.
I've been trying to figure out what is that telling me?
Yeah. Well, your throat chakra, which is your fifth chakra,
yes,
it's about speaking your truth.
Okay.
And if you're not speaking your truth, then you start having problems in that, all right, being held back. It's also about making choices in life. So in two major things with throat chakra is choices you make and also speaking your truth. And when people have trouble in those areas, not speaking their truth who they are and making poor choices in life and I don't trust their choices, becomes a whole series of things involved with that. Okay?
Okay. Is there any suggestions you have to help clear that if that happens to you? Well, it's kind of interesting, the throat chakra, because I said, well, you see, the ages between 2 to 3 years of age, it's when a child at that time sees herself separate from their mother, okay? And so when they see herself separate from their mother, they come to a point of, oh my God, she's a person, I'm a person, but who am I? I've been with her since conception, but who am I, you know? And so if that child's allowed to progress to that identity crisis they having, guess what? They can generally speak their truth and make choices up there. But we also have two other age levels. Another age is 5 to 6. This age level at 5 to 6 is when you have children taking away their family of origin, put in a classroom, and they have no pecking order. What I mean by that, there's no mother and father, older sister, brothers. They have all these boys and girls, same class. And then they have a new authority figure, a teacher and a principal. So if they've been suppressed in that area, not be able to develop that area, that makes a problem with their choices too. Then we have the last one, which is these are major development errors that kids go through, right? It's 11 to 12 years of age. That's when a child or a young teenager, I should say, start seeing themselves, well, this is my family of origin. That's their family of origin. What my family of origin going to be like? Who am I going to be? Who am I separate from this family of origin? So I start going through a major identity crisis then too. So if you're able to process these three identity crises, you generally do very well speaking your truth, not having problems. But if you get suppressed in any one of those areas, I've treated people over many years. It doesn't matter if 50, 60, or 70, or 80. If they have a trauma in one of those three areas, guess what? Everything goes back to it. I always believe you have to go to your origin of a problem, where it began at, and when I traced it back, it go into those ages, 2 to 3, 5 to 6, and 11 to 12. Yeah. I do want to make a note that I have anxiety before filming all the time. And Dr. David Bone found this out and automatically put me down in a chair and connected to me and started to see that it actually began at 3 years old.
3 years of age.
And this gift is incredible, the way you can go back in time.
Yeah.
And I could feel the emotions of that time and relive them and be aware of what was happening.
Yes.
And at the same time, I was processing the pain.
Yes.
And it was so beautiful at the same time, almost like I felt like saying goodbye to an old friend in a way, or I don't know how to describe it. And so it was so magical. And this gift that you have, again, it's so hard to articulate almost because you just channel it so beautiful. But that was incredible. Very powerful.
All I did is facilitate the area you had was worry. We took the main thing of worry out and all these emotions came up. And guess what? You healed yourself. Yeah. The healer lies within you, not me. I'm a facilitator is all I do.
And then how do you receive that information? Just as a playful way, is there a meditation that you do to kind of connect? Like, do you ground yourself and then connect to the person? How do you receive the down, or is it just a download, right? To see what age it kind of happens.
Well, in some ways, it's kind of a gift because it's so natural for me to do it. But everything has an origin. It's very, very important when you find an issue or problem is find out what the original. When you go to your origin, clear it up, it's like a domino effect. Everything clears.
Yeah.
So many times I have treated psychologists and psychiatrists and that, and they deal with issues in a lifetime. A lot of the issues we have go back to original time periods. Guess what? It might not be your origin at all. You might inherit this from your mother's side of the family, generational, or father's side of the family. And guess what? You might have also been brought these issues up from a past life, unresolved issues from past life. And also, you can have this happen at conception. When we have spermatogenesis, when the sperm comes together with the ovum actually blows and opens up. Sperm goes in and comes back down, cuts the tail of the sperm off. So explosion, cutting the sperm in half, creates DNA problems a lot of times. We get stuck with issues at that time period. Then we have, from this life on, we have things that happen to us. Like we talked about 3 years of age with you, and but those time periods are 3 years of age, and 5 to 6, and 11 to 12. Over and over again, those seem to be major issues. And when you can finally have a problem with those areas, you can clear them up. It's an amazing amount of problems you can clear with people. Okay.
Yeah.
So I actually have a lot of experience on this. So I've done this over and over again, researched with it, played with it a lot. And so I finally understand dynamics of it too. So there's a lot of experience. I'm 48 years of practice. By that time, I should learn something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
A lot of history. Well, I'm very inquisitive. What I mean by that, I question things all the time. And the more you question things, guess what happens? You question things, guess what? Spirit will give you answers. Okay? And if you actually ask a question, learn to listen. That's what a lot of people do. They ask things of spirit or God or life, what you have, but they probably get busy in their mind, busy in their body, and they don't listen. Mm-hmm. And so big thing I have people is I try to work with them to learn them how to listen. Because when you listen, you ask spirit things, you will get answers back. The problem is people get too busy doing other things, don't take time to listen to spirit. Okay?
That makes sense. Is there a tip that you could give me or give the audience on how to settle down and begin to listen to spirit? Is it just connecting to breath or?
Yeah, I guess there's a number of techniques you can use. Well, what we just did a little earlier was,
yes.
What I liked very much is what the Lama taught me. I had a Lama in 2011 when I was in Tibet. I met a Lama. He lives in a cave. It was a divine meeting I had. He taught me about a mantra, okay? And a mantra, he also taught me about how the power of a mantra, okay? And so I use that a lot of times teaching people to say their own mantra. This mantra, there's actually 5 poisons and 5 medicines, but the mantra is one that I've used quite frequently for myself, as well as I teach many people. And I taught you too.
Yeah.
We had everyone as a group came together today.
Yeah.
So it's a very simple mantra. Of the 5 poisons, the most toxic one is pride. Okay? Well, pride with ourself separates ourself. Pride with others separates us from others. Pride with God, life, energy, source, what do you want to call it? Spirit, I like to call it. It separates us from spirit. So as you say this mantra, it actually pulls us back together and connect them. And pride, since it's a separator, the mantra for it, I am repenting with, and say your first name. It's very powerful. Now, just saying I am repenting with David, I'm repenting with David, doesn't really do anything. The power of a mantra is to go ahead and say I am repenting, which means I am the great spirit that's going about face away from your soul, ego, mind, emotions, and going to your spirit and with yourself, your physical body, David, all right? So by saying this, usually if you can say it and do 3 things. Say it first, stop, listen to what you've said, and last thing is feel it in your body. So say it, hear it, feel it. That's the power of a mantra, okay? A lot of people who say mantras rattle them on.
Right.
You know, it doesn't do anything. It's all a waste of time and energy. But when you can learn to say these 3 things together and you be quiet, breathe in through your nose and out, and say that mantra 6 times, it will generally bring you in the spirit. And that's what happened. In spirit, you calm back down again, okay? I think you experienced that when we did that too. You feel yourself calm down. And actually, if you do it with a group of people, it's very powerful. The whole group calms down.
Yeah.
So that's a way of centering. Now, by doing that, we get to go back to what I call home. Home is living in my spirit 24/7. And also the power of oneness. which is even much more powerful being in your spirit. Okay? That's when you come in connection with others and oneness in spirit. It's a very powerful thing. In oneness, power goes to your energy, goes to affinity. There's no restriction on energy, okay? I love working on a oneness, working people, because that doesn't tire me out very much. But I tell you what, when I work on one-on-one with people, it drains me a lot of times. But when I go into my spirit and work with oneness, I have plenty of energy to do whatever I need to do. And you know what? The more I learn to listen to my spirit, and I can also, how I work, since I got in this far, I'll go this far, how I work, I don't go in somebody's body or them in my body. What I do is I go to my higher self, which is your 8th chakra, is your spiritual connection to others and God, okay? So that's how we communicate with God, back and forth. So when I was working with you earlier, I was connecting your higher self back to my higher self, all right? So that's how I work with that. That's very nice because, a lot of times people I work with, and I'm not that smart sometimes. What I do is I just don't know what to do with people. I ask their higher self, what kind of protocol should I do with you today? And guess what? When I listen, it tells me. And I can do that protocol because that's for you. Yeah. I'm not trying to force you into my protocols. I'm trying to find out what your protocols are, what you need for yourself. So by communicating like that, I've done it over the years. I learned how to ask and communicate right there. And as soon as that higher self connects me, I can go anywhere we need to go. What's the problem? And I ask the higher self, what's protocol should I use? It tells me a protocol, and all I have to do is do the protocol. How's that simple?
Wow,
it makes it very simple for me. But I've learned to do that. I've learned to listen. That's why I learned to listen. That's why I want to teach people.
Yes.
That this spirit up here we have, which with us, we can ask those questions. If you learn to listen, you'll get the information back. Whether it's for your life or whether it's anxiety like you had, or whether things, you can use this. And that's why John and I do, which my business partner and I work on, is trying to get people to come to true spiritual authentic self. So they can learn these things that I'm talking about with you. I want them to be able to do that for themselves.
Right.
So they can start healing themselves. We are extremely powerful individuals, very, very powerful individuals. We've lost our power over the years and given it away. It's about working to regain our power back now.
That's incredible.
Well, I'm not incredible. It's credible that I listen to spirit. There's the credibility. It's not me. It's
I love
the
trust you have, though.
What?
It's the trust. Trust and the flow.
Okay.
And you embody it.
Yeah.
And you definitely bring it with you in a room, embodying, right? And it's just like automatically when you could feel that the room was off.
Yeah.
What I love that you did is you took the time to say, hey, this room is off. Why don't we all connect?
Yeah.
And you kind of remind everybody that you're spiritual and you're more than the body. So let's get everybody out of their to-do list, anxiety, frustration, whatever that, let's call it third dimensional chatter is. So it was really refreshing because sometimes we all think it or we all try to do it ourselves in the corner. Yeah. But the fact that you were kind of walked in and you're like, you know what, let's ground this whole entire space. And
being in spirit and being in oneness is my home.
It's beautiful.
That's why I want to live at 24/7. Okay.
One thing I love about your work too is I met Dr. David Bone at the LA Consciousness convention. And a woman sat next to me and she was showing pictures of how her face was extremely red. And she said, because I asked her, I said, hey, do you know anything about this, doctor? And she goes, this used to be me. And her face was entirely red and her skin now was glowing. And I thought, oh my gosh, because, you hear people do energy work and it helps them with their emotions and their personality. But to actually see how your work helps somebody's health, I thought was spectacular.
Yeah.
So how do you use your work to help shift somebody like that? Like if you were to tap into me and you're like, oh, she's got intestinal problems, or I don't know, her face is red. How do you pick that up same way? Or
no, I can usually go, I feel your energy, but I also, it takes a minute or two sometimes for your higher self to connect up. My 8th chakra, when I do that, right away I'm connected up. And all I have to do, I don't really have any special gifts in some ways. I learn to listen and I learn to talk with her. And over the years, it's amazing you develop this part. And that's what I want people to do. I do it myself too, but I do it to others. Is, everything we have, we are extremely powerful people. The greatest hero you're going to ever run to is inside you. Greatest teacher you're ever going to run to is inside you. Okay? The greatest power you have is inside yourself. I try to get people to look inside. That's where our strength's at. That's who we are. And this outside world is just a holographic picture of what everybody's accreted. That's not important. It's what's inside here. It's us.
Right.
And so, I like when I go into a room or someplace I like to balance the room myself. And everybody loves that usually. I have people say,
it feels better.
Yeah. I have people say all the time, I love being around you, Dr. Bone. They don't really know me.
You're like, of course you do.
But they love the feeling. They feel the energy around it. And that's what, I'm glad they can experience that, because I want them to be motivated to find their self. Look inside their self. Become their true spiritual authentic self. That's why John and I have given this class, working to give us, trying to share this with others. Some people are open to it, some people are not. Or maybe it's the wrong time for them at times too. So anyway, but that's one of my, I retired 8 years ago. Oh. John jokes around me. I'm the most
now you're
busy.
A movie star. Now you're
I'm the most busy retirement. He knows. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy helping people. It's a gift I have, and I get to be a purpose in life. Yeah. And if I didn't have a purpose, I don't know what I'd do myself. I enjoy having a purpose. That's why I continue to do what I'm doing.
I love it so much. Not to circle back again, because I just love this topic. You say that, again, when you find an illness in somebody and you tap into them, you're being told what they have, but you don't feel it at all in your body, or you don't see it? Is it more, because is there anything after they tell you, you don't have to clear yourself, or you're not like, okay, I got to download, she's got an infection in her stomach, right? Yeah. Let it go. You just are told what it is, correct?
Well, a lot of it's told, but I do feel, just like earlier, I told you I had a little anxiety there still, right? I do pick it up from people up there. I try not to connect as much with that anymore. I try to continue working with the higher spiritual self in that way. So.
And then do you release it?
What?
Do you release it?
Yeah. When I can work from a higher self, I just disconnect. I can walk away from it. I don't carry it. Sometimes I have to admit, people are very needy.
Yes.
And I have a lot of people connect to me quite often. Not me trying to connect them. They connect to me because they have their needs met, and they want to stay with me or stay connected to the energy out there. So I do have to take time and clear myself from people attaching to me, okay? I do not attach to people. I don't want to attach to people. I don't want them attached to me either, but I do have times I check myself, I find out these people have attached to me, all right?
That's interesting. Now, when somebody attaches to you, do you start to sense, like get a download, so to speak, of them talking to you? It's like a little telephone. Like, can you sense them? Do you know what I mean? Because you'll sense things in your body.
Yeah,
like
I do.
What automatically makes you go, oh, there's about 20 people kind of connecting to,
I start seeing my energy level start going down. Because what they're doing is draining energy from you, wanting energy to have. Yeah.
I think that's a great tip for all of us, right? Because we don't realize it. If you go out and you're trying to be bright or trying to make somebody else happy, you don't, or you're not taught that people can connect to you in this way. And then you're not taught, well, how do I remove those cords so that way I can return back to me and I'm not getting everybody's downloads constantly.
Well, I always have a saying, abuse begets abuse, begets abuse. So people that attach me have other people attached to them, have taken energy from them. And usually when I go back and check that out and try to work on who's draining energy off them, that helps to clear them up, helps to break them that pattern. And some days these things can be very deeply ingrained in people, going back from generations, mother and father's side of the family, past lives, or conception, or in this lifetime. But generally, people that do that, do attach me, they're being attached to or been abused some way, okay?
Yeah. I wonder, too, if it's a love language for some people, right? And that's where in relationships, people get upset. It's like, hey, I want to plug into you. I never thought of them plugging in up there. But again, and it's like if you unplug them, all of a sudden they're upset. Or you know what I mean? There's a little bit of a discord. So it's kind of like learning that it's okay and you returning back to center, knowing that you're not a battery for everybody else.
Yeah. Well, you have you have children, and I have children, and you're going to be there for your children. And there is this attachment you have when they're growing up, and they should eventually get old enough that you can detach from them. They can be their own self. Right. So that's a normal thing.
Unless you're Italian, and then you can stay attached. I'm just kidding.
Well, Italian, German, and Jewish.
Okay.
They're all mothers the same. I have friends that are all mothers.
Where are you going? What do you mean you want to unattach?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just kidding.
They have their own personalities, but those three seem to be very similar in nature. Anyway, but the attachment is not healthy for me. It's not healthy for them. And so that's why I do take time to break that up and try to find out where. Okay? And people are needy, and they haven't understood everything they have is inside themselves. They're looking outside to try to fill themselves up. They're not looking where they should be on the inside. And that learning how to be their own self, own healer, own, if you want to say, own lover. Love yourself, you know? And then also the greatest teacher, looking for wisdom inside yourself. Okay?
If you could give us one tip before you go on how to connect to your inner part, other than the I am, is there one little tip for you to kind of realign your chakras or ground yourself that you use that kind of helps you reset?
Yeah, I was just trying to think. That's very interesting. I use so many different tools.
I know.
Everybody's so different too. And I try to, personally, what's hard about me answer that question is I look at people and as what does they need, all right? It's not so much, because everybody's different, their needs are. So, and I always try to, I try to explain this to other doctors. I don't put people through my protocols.
Yes.
I want to know what your protocols are so I can put for you. So I guess that when I'd have to ask their higher self, what do they need, Basically, it's taking time to be with yourself, the mantra is so important.
Yeah, that's
because I said, what do we do? Pride is the biggest poison of all the 5 poisons because we separate ourselves from ourselves, we separate ourselves from others, and we separate ourselves from God. Really, it's about getting connected. So that's the critical thing is finding how can I reconnect myself. First of all, I think really, to be honest with you, people need to start loving themselves.
Yeah.
Because, a psychology article I read last year said that 90% of people don't love themselves. You got to start loving ourselves. As we start loving ourselves and connect to yourself, guess what? We start centering ourselves much better. So I guess if I try to answer that question better, is I start taking and start looking at loving yourself.
That's beautiful. I think that's the best because we've heard meditations, breathing.
Yeah.
But I think that's...
And those are all good too. But if you think
right
about,
now, I'm just kidding.
But when you think about meditation, breathing, what you're doing, you're taking time to be quiet and you're taking time to be with self.
Yeah.
So that's kind of love in self,
Right.
Just say, hey, you're Dave, you're a recognizer. I'm being with you for a while. No, I'm going to turn the radio off, turn the TV off, turn the people off, take my 20, 30 minutes and just be with you and you alone. That's kind of a sense of love by itself. I think that would be it. Trying to be really present yourself, not let your motor brain take off and motor about this, motor about that, but stay present with yourself. Learn how to be that present time with you. You'll see yourself start calming down and you'll start centering. And that's what meditation does. It just gets a quiet place for us to center ourselves. And that's what we need to do on a continual level. And the world we live in, which is pretty chaotic, it's taking time to really get that, find that center in us, and keep going back on a repeat basis. I try to recommend people at least doing that three times a day, doing a meditation. Get back and center yourself. It's so easy to get out there, stretch out all over the place, and you're not being able to hold center where you're at with things too.
If you had to give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
If I had to be my younger self, what?
One piece of advice, what would that be?
Well, I've done a lot of things wrong in my life.
Well,
so
where do I start? How long is this show?
Yeah. I'm like anybody else. I've done trial and error. We learned by trial and error many times. If I do one more thing, I just learn to... I would learn to stop, quiet, listen.
Stop, quiet.
Listen to yourself, listen to others, and it will teach you so much by doing that, okay? So I would say listen would be the most important thing, all right? Because I find people over and over that just don't listen. And how can you help when they don't listen and take care of their own self, okay?
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much,
Well,
David, for being on the show. I hope you come back.
All right, we can do that sometime.
We'll have you back on.
Yeah, I felt good. I felt comfortable talking to you. And just nice exchange and information. You got nice energy about it. You got a nice aura with her, too.
Oh,
you really love the aura.
Oh,
no,
it's the lights.
true.
It's the lights.
Yeah. It's a nice soft aura. It's really nice presence. I saw that when we were at the expo the other day. I thought that was very pleasant about you.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.
If you want more, please join our community at marisagrieko.com.